Picture this. You're sitting with friends at a cozy cafe or maybe in a bustling group chat. The conversation is flowing, people are laughing, the mood is light. From the outside, it seems like a perfectly normal interaction. But inside, you're spiraling. While everyone else seems fully present, your mind is locked in a storm of overanalysis. You're stuck replaying something you said 15 minutes ago. A single phrase, a facial expression, a glance that seemed off, it becomes the center of your universe. You start questioning your tone, your wording, the expression on your face when you said it. Did you offend someone? Were you too direct? Did you seem fake? You want to stay engaged, to laugh along, but it's like your thoughts are dragging you under the surface. You're there physically, but your mind has checked out, hijacked by a relentless loop of doubt and worry. This is what it's like when OCD enters social spaces. It's not the loud kind of suffering, not always the visible kind. It's a quiet war happening in your head while the world continues around you. People often associate OCD with visible rituals, hand-washing, checking, counting, but in many cases, especially in social situations, the compulsions are entirely mental. They are hidden, silent, and exhausting. In social settings, OCD shows up in ways most people wouldn't recognize as compulsions. It might begin with mental rehearsing, an intense need to plan every sentence before speaking to ensure it's safe or won't be misunderstood. This process can become so elaborate that you miss parts of the conversation as your brain is busy constructing a script. Then, once you've said something, it flips into mental reviewing, going over the conversation repeatedly in your mind, looking for signs that you made a mistake, came across wrong, or hurt someone unintentionally. You may find yourself scanning the room constantly, reading every facial expression, every tone shift, every pause, searching for microsigns of disapproval or annoyance. A quiet nod might be interpreted as boredom, a glance away might feel like rejection. The guilt begins to creep in. Something that would be trivial to someone else, a joke, a comment, even a compliment, starts to feel dangerous. You start questioning your own intentions. Was that kind? Was that appropriate? Did that cross a line? And then, you might feel the compulsion to seek reassurance, whether subtly or directly. You might text a friend after a gathering to ask, "Did I say something weird?" or "Are you mad at me?" And if they say no, you might still feel the need to ask again or ask someone else for a second opinion. Sometimes, it's easier to avoid it all. So you start turning down invitations, not because you don't want to connect, but because the aftermath is too mentally draining to bear. These symptoms may resemble social anxiety on the surface, and it's true, social anxiety and OCD often overlap. But the difference lies in the presence of compulsions, those mental or behavioral actions you feel compelled to do in response to your obsessive thoughts. OCD doesn't just make you worry, it demands that you do something about the worry, again and again, even when it doesn't help. Over time, social life can start to feel like a minefield, filled with invisible triggers. Every interaction becomes a potential trap for intrusive thoughts. You might find yourself agonizing over the tone of a message before hitting send, rereading it 10 times and editing unnecessary words. A simple emoji can be analyzed for minutes. Is the laughing face too strong? Is the period at the end of the sentence too cold? Should you add a heart emoji to soften it? Should you say sorry even though you didn't do anything wrong? In group conversations, especially in professional or academic settings, the stakes can feel even higher. You might contribute something to the discussion and instantly regret it. You become hyper-aware of how your words landed. Were they too aggressive? Too vague? Did you speak out of turn? You might apologize for speaking, even when your input was valuable and welcomed. This cycle of speaking, regretting, overthinking, and apologizing becomes exhausting, and the dread of repeating it may lead to slowly withdrawing from group interactions. What's heartbreaking is that this can happen even during joyful moments at a birthday party, a holiday gathering, or a casual dinner. While others enjoy the connection, someone with OCD might be silently battling a wave of self-doubt and mental noise. And this internal noise doesn't end when the event ends. In fact, for many, the real torment begins once they're alone. Social OCD can take many forms, often blending with other subtypes in complex ways. For instance, someone with emotional contamination OCD might feel that if they've had a negative or judgmental thought about someone, even if it was fleeting or irrational, they shouldn't be around that person anymore. They feel morally contaminated and believe their mere presence might harm the other person. This can lead to avoiding people they love out of a deep, painful sense of guilt. Then there's moral scrupulosity, where the person holds themselves to impossibly high moral standards. They might obsess over whether a comment was ethically wrong, even if it was completely harmless. They might feel immense shame for a thought they had, convinced that thinking something inappropriate makes them a bad person. For these individuals, thoughts are treated as facts and the boundary between thought and action blurs, causing tremendous anxiety. Another layer is relationship OCD, ROCD, where the very bond with another person becomes the source of obsessive doubt. Instead of feeling joy and security in a relationship, the person is consumed by thoughts like, do I really care about them? Are they the right person? What if I'm being dishonest with myself? This applies to friendships too. A best friend's delayed response can spark hours of worry. Are they mad at me? Did I say something wrong? What if they secretly hate me? Then there's existential OCD, which turns ordinary moments into deep philosophical spirals. A simple comment like time flies can trigger an episode of existential fear. Why are we here? What does this all mean? Am I even real? Imagine trying to enjoy a celebration while your mind is unraveling the fabric of reality behind the scenes. These thought patterns aren't just tiring, they're emotionally paralyzing. And yet, from the outside, the person might appear perfectly fine. That's what makes it so hard. The torment is silent. Once the social event ends, many people with OCD don't get relief, they get hit with the aftershock. The brain starts replaying everything, dissecting each conversation, tone, and expression. A 2-hour hangout can lead to 6 hours of mental punishment. The brain asks relentless questions. Was I annoying? Did I talk too much? Did they secretly dislike me? Should I apologize? The need for certainty becomes overwhelming, and because there's never a satisfying answer, the mind stays stuck in rumination. This post-social anxiety isn't just a minor inconvenience. It affects sleep, appetite, and even one's willingness to connect with others again. It reinforces the idea that socializing equals pain, which can push someone into isolation, not because they don't want to be around others, but because the cost feels too high. One of the most painful parts of this experience is how invisible and misunderstood it is. Well-meaning people might say, "You're just shy, don't overthink it," or "you worry too much." But these phrases, although intended to comfort, can unintentionally invalidate the real depth of someone's distress. OCD isn't just a personality quirk. It's not something you can switch off. It's a disorder rooted in brain function, and it often requires clinical support. Dismissing someone's experience or trying to logic them out of it can add shame to an already overwhelming situation. That's why awareness and empathy are essential. We need to create spaces where people can be honest about what's going on in their minds without fear of being labeled dramatic, difficult, or weird. If this sounds like you, know that you're not alone. Your experience is real. Your mind may be loud, but your courage is louder. The fact that you continue to show up in a world that often misunderstands you is a testament to your strength. Whether you're actively in treatment, considering therapy, or simply surviving each day, your effort matters. Healing is possible. OCD is treatable, and many people find relief through therapy, especially exposure and response prevention, ERP, medication, or other forms of support. Progress may be slow, but every step forward counts. And on days when it feels like too much, just remember, surviving is already a victory. And for those who don't have OCD but care about someone who does, thank you for listening. Thank you for choosing empathy over assumptions. You don't have to fix anything. Sometimes, just believing someone and standing beside them is the most healing thing you can do. Ask, listen, be patient. Your presence can be a safe harbor in a world that often feels unsafe. Disclaimer: this video is intended for educational and awareness purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional mental health care. If you or someone you love is struggling with OCD, please reach out to a licensed therapist or mental health provider for support.